Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of my Halloween card series for 2011. Today we're going to be making a really fun interactive card. I just discovered this tutorial and I just fell in love with it, so I had to share. So today we're going to be using this stamp set by Paper Smooches, and I'm going to be using this little Frankenstein and also the Happy Halloween. And so let's get started. So first of all, you will need to start off, I don't know what I'm doing in this video. I'm doing the narration for it, sorry. There we go. You're going to start off with a 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, and you're going to score it at 2 1/8 inch from each of the shorter sides. And I'm just going to fold those, and that's basically going to make yourself a gatefold card. So I'm just going to burnish those edges down real quick, make sure we get a nice crease there, and make sure that our gatefold is working properly. It looks like I might be having a little bit of an issue with it. I didn't measure properly or something, so I'm going to have to fix that really quick. I'm just going to re-fold it, line it up with the other edge there, and then re-fold it there. Make sure you burnish that down. There we go. Okay, so then what you're also going to need is a piece of cardstock. I'm using pattern paper in this case, that's 5.5 inches long by 3 inches wide, and you can use cardstock or pattern paper. You'll also need 2 pieces that are 2 inches by 3 1/4 inches, and you want to score them at 1/2 inch in from one of the sides, and then the opposite side you're going to cut this little banner shape out. And I've just cut one of them just to show you. I'm going to go ahead and cut the other one exactly the same. And basically I just measured the center point between the 2 inches, so basically 1 inch in and 1 inch up into that. So that's all I did there. And then we're going to be using some Nestabilities dies. I'm using the Standard Circles Large here, and I've chosen these 2 circles. You want 2 different sizes. If you wanted to, you could use a scallop circle and a regular circle. I just chose to use both circles, but it's totally up to you. So I'm going to take the larger of the 2 circles, and we're going to be cutting out the circle from these front 2 panels, so half a circle from each panel. And again, I'm having issues with that fold. I don't know what happened, but you guys get to see that I make mistakes too. I'm not always measuring perfectly, especially with gatefolds. For some reason I have a really hard time getting perfect gatefolds. So I fixed it there, and I've cut these circles that I'm going to be using out of Post-it note. I just cut them with my Nestabilities there, so they're the exact size. And I'm going to take the Post-it note, and on the sticky side I'm going to have it be on one panel, and I'm just going to kind of line it up where I want it on my card, where I want the circle cut out. So I'm going to do it kind of towards the top there, and just eyeballing the center there. Then you're going to take your Nestability, and you're going to set it down on the Post-it note, and you want to make sure that the edge of the cutting part of the die is kind of catching on that Post-it note. You want to make sure that it cuts exactly where that Post-it note is. So I'm going to grab my Cuttlebug here. You can use your Big Shot or whatever die cutting machine you have. I've got my A plate, my B plate, and I forgot, you need to open your card up so that you're only cutting the one half panel there. And make sure again that it's catching on that post-it note right where the blade is. And then put your C plate on top. And it did move a little bit, so you can tape it down if you'd like to, if you don't want to fiddle with it, but it didn't take too much fiddling to get it to stay. So I'm just gonna put my C plate in and then run it through really quick. I'm just gonna run it through and then bring it right back. And then you can see that it cut half of the circle out. So we're gonna go back, we're gonna fold these together again, and we're gonna put the post-it note back. We're gonna make sure the sticky side is on this panel this time, and just line that circle up with where it's cut out of the other panel, and stick it down, and then open it back up and do the other side again. Just make sure that blade is catching on the post-it. Put your C plate on top. Try not to move it too much. And then run it through your die cut machine. It's pretty simple to do, especially with those post-it notes. They definitely help with that. If you don't have nestabilities, you can use circle punches or circle cutter if you'd like. But you can see there you've got a perfect circle when you fold them together. So now we're going to take this piece, and I'm going to use the smaller of the two circles, again with the post-it note. I'm going to stick this inside the card because this is where it's going to end up going. I'm going to just center it in there a little bit. And then I'm going to close the panels so that I can get an idea where it's actually going to go. And then I'm going to stick my post-it note right in the center. You don't have to get it perfect, especially with this Halloween card. I think it'd be cute if it was off-center. But we're just going to put our nestability right there, again making sure that that blade catches on the post-it note so that it's exactly where we placed it. And you can put your cutting plate on top and just run it through. Okay, so there's that part all done. And we are finished with the Cuttlebug for now. So you can see this will go in the center, and then our panels will fold down and they will look very nice. You can adjust this, move it around as much as you need to. Now that you've got the circle in there, you know, you can kind of move it around to whatever looks best to you. We're not going to be adhering it down quite yet, but I'm just kind of showing you, you know, you can move it around a little bit. So there's our little windows. And then I'm gonna grab this purple piece. I wanted the front of my card to be purple, so I decided to go ahead, and this was the easiest way I could think of how to cut a circle that was just a tad bit larger than those ones that are on the front, so that I have a black border around all of it. I just stuck it inside the card and made sure that it was exactly where I wanted it. There was about 1/8 of an inch around all the sides. I'm just tracing around that circle so that I can get an idea for where it's going to be. And then I'm going to grab the next largest circle die in my die set. I'm going to set it here and center it over that original circle, and I'm just going to trace the inside. I'm not going to be cutting with the nestability itself, I'm just tracing the inside. Just like that. And then I forgot, when I had it inside the card, I forgot to mark the lines for where my panels meet. So I'm just sticking it back in there real quick, and just going to mark the lines, like I said, where those two panels meet, so that I know where I can cut my circles in half. I'm just going to fold that other flap over so I can draw a solid line there. It just helps when you're cutting it to have a solid line sometimes. And I got a little bit of my pencil mark on the black card, so I wanted to erase that real quick. So now I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer, move some of the stuff out of the way, and just cut straight down that line. This will make it easier to get in and cut these half circles. So now I'm just cutting the outside circle. Again, that inner circle was just a guideline to show me where the other circles were. So I'm just cutting along the outer circle, and like I said, that'll create just a small border around the front of my card. It's just for decoration purposes. You wouldn't have to do this if you didn't want to. I just think it adds a little something to the card. So I went ahead and placed it on here, and I realized that I wanted to trim down the other sides a little bit more so that it matched a little better with how much black was showing around the circle. So I trimmed them both down, I cut the other piece out, and you can see there how they'll look when I put them on. And this is the image that I chose, and I colored him up with my Prismacolor pencils like usual. And because my card base is black, I went ahead and stamped him on a regular piece of paper. This is the Papertrey Ink Stamper Select cardstock that I used. And I'm going to place that other piece there just to get an idea for where I want my little guy peeking out from. So I'm just moving him around how I want him. Oops. So he's right where I want him. You can see that there. And then I'm going to take these two pieces that we cut earlier. Now I actually told you to cut them at 2 inches by 3 1/4 inches. And I actually recommend cutting them at least 2 1/4 inches by 3 1/4, just because I had a small issue with those little corners where the banner pieces are. They would kind of get stuck in the circle that I cut out anytime you'd open it, and you'll see what I mean here in a little bit. So I recommend cutting them at 2 1/4 at least, depending on how big your circle is. If you're going to have a bigger circle, then you would need to probably make them a little bit wider. But what we're going to do is set these two banner pieces down. You're going to line the edge of them up with the fold of your card where the gatefolds are. And then we're going to take this other piece. I use sticky strip. You want to use a super strong adhesive for all of these pieces, just to make sure that everything stays well. I'm going to go ahead and take the backs off of this and very, very carefully adhere this down. Okay, so I'm pulling that front panel down just to kind of eyeball exactly how much of that polka dot paper is going to show through. I want to make sure that it's pretty close to centered in there, and stick it straight down. Okay, now we can take off the backing of these blue banner pieces and fold down our panels, just like so. And then I had a little bit of that polka dot paper sticking out. It was a little bit long, so I went ahead and just trimmed that off. And then one thing that I forgot to do with those blue banner pieces was to fold where I had scored. So I scored them, but I didn't fold them, and now I'm having issues with opening the card. So I'm very carefully opening the card, and then I'm going to go back and burnish those down really well. So that's something that you want to make sure that you do, is fold those suckers before you put them in. Because I was really afraid that I was going to rip my card, because that adhesive is super strong, and I was so worried that I had gone through all the trouble to do this card and I was going to ruin it. But I didn't. It worked out just fine. So there is kind of, you can see now how the card works. It's a cute little window card. So now is the fun part. I get to decorate it. So I went ahead and took those purple pieces that we had cut earlier, and I sewed along the edges. I didn't sew around the circle because I'm not the greatest at sewing, so I just did the straight edges. And then I also put some white brads that are from the Spookville collection and put them on the four corners of those panels, just like so. And that just gives it a little more decoration. You can see there, that's where I was telling you I had a little bit of trouble with the blue pieces, and it's because the instructions that I had called for a 2-inch strip, and my circle happened to be a little bit larger than theirs. So if you're using the same nestabilities that I am, you will probably want to make them a little bit wider. It really just depends on how large your stamped image is that you're going to be putting in the window, and you know how big you want your circle. Here I've just got a couple pattern papers from the 6x6 paper pad, and then I stamped a piece of green cardstock with my Martha Stewart spiderweb punch, and this little strip says "Beware" on it. That's from one of the border sheets that are in the collection. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this across the card. And I wasn't thinking when I did this, and I just was thinking, oh, I could go ahead and cut this, but my gatefold was so dead on that it just wasn't really working. I ended up sneaking my scissors in there a little bit, but it was a little bit difficult to do this. So right about here, it popped off of the one side, so I just decided to go with that and go ahead and trim that off the one side. And then I will go back and line it up again and just stick it on the other side. So that's probably the better way to do it, but yeah. So those line up nicely. And there's the decoration for the front. And then on the inside, I've got another couple pieces of cardstock. I've got this green piece that we're going to be stamping the sentiment on, and this orange piece that I've also punched with the Martha Stewart spiderweb punch. And for the sentiment, I'm going to be using the Happy Halloween from the same Halloweenies stamp set from Paper Smooches. So I'm stamping the Halloween first, and then the Happy right next to it. I love the font. I love Kim Hughes' handwriting. It's just super, super cute. So there's that, and then we just adhere that straight down on the inside. And you could make this a little bit bigger if you wanted to actually write a sentiment or something like that, but for me, I just like the Happy Halloween. So again, still having issues with that banner piece. Just adjust it to the size that you need for the circle that you're punching out, is all I can tell you. But yeah, so there's our card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this really fun interactive card. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye.